Hello MotoGP fans, welcome back to ZNGP Today. Marc Márquez heads into the Phillip Island GP with high hopes, knowing the circuit suits his style. Although his chances of winning the title this year are slim, the Spanish rider is determined to finish strong and set the tone for next season. In a recent press conference, Márquez opened up about his expectations for Phillip Island, the challenges of the season, and his goals for the future. Australian MotoGP rider Jack Miller remains unfazed by the uncertain weather forecast for the upcoming Australian Grand Prix at Phillip Island. Miller, who is set to leave KTM for Pramac Yamaha in 2025, sees the potential for unpredictable conditions as an advantage, believing that less dry track time may actually play to his strengths. Reigning MotoGP World Champion Francesco Bagnaia has outlined the huge change that Jorge Martin is facing in the 2024 championship battle, as the two rivals continue to fight for the title. With Martin leading the standings by 10 points heading into the Australian GP, Bagnaia shared his insights on the mental challenges Martin will face in the final stretch of the season. Spanish MotoGP rider Jorge Martin has shared his thoughts on his current form in the championship, expressing confidence in his riding and determination to stay focused as he fights for the world title. Speaking ahead of the Australian GP, Martin reflected on his rivalry with Francesco Bagnaia and the challenges that lie ahead. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Phillip Island is one of Marc Márquez's favorite circuits, and the Gresini racing rider believes that its layout, left-hand and anti-clockwise, could play to his strengths this weekend. He is on the left, and in theory if he turns anti-clockwise he should go a little better, but well, we will see how the weekend goes. Quote from Marquez. Marquez is approaching the weekend with cautious optimism, aware that Phillip Island can be unpredictable due to its unique asphalt conditions. He emphasized the importance of staying adaptable during the free practice sessions. We will see FP1, and from there we will understand the new asphalt, understand the tires, and adapt above all to the conditions, which is the key point here at Phillip Island. Reflecting on last year's race, he recalled that despite the unpredictability, it wasn't always the strongest riders who came out on top, pointing out that Johann Zarco's clever tire choice led to his victory in 2023. While Marquez's focus is on finishing the season strong, he recently faced an engine failure during the Mandalika GP. Although he understands the mechanical failure, he remains tight-lipped about the details. We know what happened to the engine, but I am not going to be the one to say it. They explained to me what happened, and I understand it. In the end, mechanical parts also fail. Despite the setback, Marquez remains positive, stressing that success in MotoGP is as much about mental resilience as it is about mechanical performance. As for any potential improvements to his bike for the remainder of the season, Marquez was clear that the Misano test confirmed there would be no further updates. However, he still believes the team has enough to compete well in the final races. They made it clear to us at the Misano test that this was the end of the season, and we have enough resources to do good races, and we will seek that consistency. With the 2024 season winding down, Marquez has his eyes firmly on next year. Set to join the official Ducati Lenovo team in 2025, he is determined to be a frontrunner once again. Marquez expressed satisfaction with his 2024 season, noting that despite the challenges, he managed to secure 2 race wins. However, he remains hungry for more and is focused on improving his consistency and speed to take his performance to the next level. If I am in the official team next year, I have the obligation to fight to win races. This year I wanted to win a race, and we have won 2. We will see if I can win some more. I don't rule anything out. Marquez concluded. As the MotoGP season enters its final phase, Marc Márquez continues to push the limits, setting his sights on strong performances at Phillip Island and beyond. With a clear vision for 2025, the Gresini racing rider is ready to take on the challenge of returning to the top of the podium next year. Jack Miller heads into his home Grand Prix at Phillip Island with a positive outlook, despite an iffy weather forecast expected to impact practice sessions on Friday and Saturday. Known for his ability to adapt quickly, the four-time MotoGP race winner feels confident that less dry track time could help mitigate some of the challenges he's faced this season. The least amount of dry track time, the better for me. I feel like we sort of hit the ground running, and then we've been struggling throughout the season to make progress from basically FP1. Quote from Miller. Miller has had a tough season, battling with chatter issues on his KTM RC16, but he believes Phillip Island's unique layout could help mask some of the bike's problems. As we've seen many a year here at the island, it's one of those tracks where even if you are having some slight issues, you can mask it a little bit. Despite a challenging run of results this season, Miller's familiarity with Phillip Island gives him hope for a strong performance in front of his home crowd. A podium finisher at the Australian circuit in 2019, he's banking on his ability to start strong, especially with less dry practice time ahead of qualifying. So, I feel like the least amount of dry track time will help because our speed is generally there from the get-go. It's just how to make those micro improvements over the weekend, Miller told Bike Crash. Miller is determined to end his time with KTM on a high note before transitioning to Pramac Yamaha in 2025. His primary goal is to overcome the RC16's ongoing limitations and put in a competitive showing at Phillip Island. Miller also had words of praise for his teammates, including rookie sensation Pedro Acosta, who has been leading KTM's charge recently. Acosta secured his first ever MotoGP pole position in Japan and has been in the mix for victories, though a crash ended his hopes. He's done a fantastic job. It's easy to forget that he's a rookie because he's riding like a seasoned veteran. Miller also highlighted the efforts of Brad Binder, who has consistently delivered strong results, despite the limitations of the bike. Brad is doing a fantastic job as well bringing home the results. There's no hiding the fact I've had my issues, but I think the boys are doing a fantastic job being able to ride around it, Miller concluded. As the MotoGP season enters its final stretch, Jack Miller is ready to tackle his home race with a determined mindset, undeterred by the unpredictable weather. With KTM hopeful of a strong finish and Miller aiming to end his time with the team on a positive note, Phillip Island promises to be a critical race weekend for the Australian. As the 2024 MotoGP season draws closer to its climax, Francesco Bagnaia has reflected on how Jorge Martin has evolved since their title fight last year. While Bagnaia took the crown in 2023, this season sees Martin leading the standings, showing greater consistency and belief in his abilities. I think the biggest difference compared to last season is that he started this season much better. He led more or less the entire championship. He knows he can win, he knows he can be competitive. So this makes a huge difference. Quote from Bagnaia. Bagnaia acknowledged that despite his own moments of bad luck with bike issues and race contacts, Martin's consistency has put him at the forefront of the 2024 title fight. Bagnaia, who has experience in winning 2 MotoGP titles, stressed that the final phase of the season is where the real mental challenge lies. Although Martin may have shown immense growth and confidence, the reigning champion warned that the pressure intensifies when the title is within reach. The biggest difference I felt when I won my first race in MotoGP and the first time I fought for the championship in 2021. This makes a huge change. But in terms of the mental side, I think you will not understand it until you arrive at the very last part of the championship. Bagnaia revealed that even with a significant lead last season, heading into the final round in Valencia still brought overwhelming pressure. I thought I was controlling the pressure well last year, but when I arrived in Valencia, I was feeling a bit better because I had a 21-point lead, but the mental side was more or less the same, Bagnaia told Bike Crash. The 2024 season is the last time that Bagnaia and Martin will battle for the championship on the same machinery, with Martin set to join Aprilia in 2025. Ducati has chosen Marc Márquez to be Bagnaia's new teammate next season, creating a major shift in the competition landscape. Bagnaia emphasized that even though the current rivalry may end after 2024, the mental and emotional toll of fighting for a world title remains constant, no matter how experienced a rider may be. As Francesco Bagnaia and Jorge Martin head into the final rounds of the 2024 MotoGP season, the psychological battle will be just as critical as the action on track. With the Australian GP set to test both riders, all eyes are on who will handle the pressure and come out on top in this thrilling championship fight. Jorge Martin expressed pride in his current position as a top contender for the 2024 MotoGP World Championship. After finishing runner-up last season, the Pramac rider is relishing the opportunity to fight for the title once again. Despite the challenges posed by his rival, Francesco Bagnaia, Martin remains calm and focused on the task at hand. Martin acknowledged Bagnaia's experience, having already secured 2 world titles, but emphasized his own commitment to improving and competing at the highest level. "It is a pride to be here. I am in a very privileged moment. I am the one who is new and he has been through this more times than me, and in the end it is difficult to fight against someone like him," Martin told. Jorge Martin took time to reflect on the incredible level of competition in MotoGP today. He emphasized how parity between bikes has pushed riders to their limits, leading to tighter races and constantly raising the bar in the sport. "We are riding at an incredible level. The truth is that this shows the very high level at which we are riding." He also downplayed external opinions, focusing instead on his personal performance and the hard work required to stay competitive in such an intense environment. As Martin prepares for the Australian GP, he is well aware of the difficult conditions he will face. Rain, a new asphalt surface, and unfamiliar tire options make this weekend especially tricky. Despite this, Martin is maintaining an open mind and taking a measured approach to each session. "It will be a difficult weekend. We have 3 different tires that we haven't tried yet, and it will be difficult to see which one is good for the race." The Spaniard noted that staying adaptable and prepared to tackle new challenges is key as the season enters its final and most critical phase. With just a few races remaining in the 2024 season, Martin is laser-focused on reaching Valencia with a shot at the world title. He admitted that mistakes are more costly at this stage, and keeping a sharp focus on each race is essential. "There are still 3 races left where we can make mistakes, and now the mistakes weigh much more and are more important." To manage the pressure, Martin is taking a strategic, race-by-race approach. He stressed the importance of concentrating on the present, staying competitive in each race, and not looking too far ahead. "I think that's my strategy, to go day by day, race by race, and give the best at every moment without thinking too much about Malaysia or Valencia or what's ahead," concluded. As the MotoGP title race heats up, Jorge Martin is determined to stay calm and focused, taking each race one step at a time. With challenging conditions at Phillip Island, the Australian GP will be a true test of both skill and strategy as Martin aims to close the gap on Bagnaia and keep his title hopes alive. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. See you in the next video.